Hey fight fans, today in this video, Khabib Nurmagomedov has again been accused of using extreme caution. In a recent interview, Khabib suggested that Makhachev defend the title at least 6 times and then retire. Well, 6 defenses equals about 3 years, so many didn't like that and accused him of using extreme caution. UFC featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski spoke about his upcoming fight against lightweight title holder Islam Makhachev. And Judge Doug Crosby, who officiated the UFC lightweight fight between Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon, reveals how he evaluates a performance of a fighter. Now, speaking about Paddy Pimblett, he has transformed from an admired figure to more of a despised one. And it would appear that Pimblett's luck has taken a turn for the worst. From his racist remarks about Ilia Topuria to his reaction after the fight with Jared Gordon at UFC 282, he has angered a lot of fans. So let's kick off this video in order, but while we are launching the video, I do want to go ahead and ask you all to help support our channel with likes and subscriptions. We have very little left to reach 40,000 subscribers, so thank you in advance. Now let's kick things off with the fact that Judge Doug Crosby, who officiated the UFC lightweight fight between Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon, revealed how he evaluates the performance of a fighter. He stated, over the last 15 years, when you talk to the fighters, the overarching comment, and I'm not going to call it a complaint, I'll call it a comment or a concern, is that effective grappling is not given enough weight in the scoring criteria. And recently, the scoring criteria has been modified and updated so that effective striking and effective grappling are considered equal, Crosby said. And if effective grappling is considered the equal of effective striking, and then you look at any of my scores through that newly ground mental lens, the scores may become easier to understand. But that has to do with reading and understanding the criteria, and I don't know who does that and who doesn't. I do know that when I talk to fighters, they are overwhelmingly intelligent and articulate and courageous, and I respect them all for better or worse. And that's what moves me forward. It's what's best for the fighters, not what's best for the coaches or the media. For the fighters, and any fighter knows that they can discuss anything with me in private at any time. But I mean, come on, let's be honest. Who is ever gonna let the golden boy lose? Therefore, us, the third-party observers, were not surprised by this verdict. But it's Paddy. Everyone loves him. Everyone wants to see him at the top. No, it would actually be more correct to say that everyone loved him. In just a matter of moments, Paddy Pimblett transformed from an admired figure to more of a despised one. So it turns out that his luck is taking a turn for the worst. From his racist remarks about Ilia Topuria to his reaction after the fight with Jared Gordon at UFC 282, all of this is anger to the fans. And for example, Magomed Ankalaev was an even bigger favorite than Pimblett. Everyone was sure that Magomed would defeat Jan, but it turned out a little differently, as this is only the 5th title in UFC history to end in a draw. And who made the most money? That's right, the bookmakers. Because none of the fighters won, no one lost, the fight was recognized as valid, and people just ended up throwing away empty tickets in the trash. Now, former UFC fighter Brendan Schaub, like many, was also dissatisfied with the words of Khabib Nurmagomedov regarding the career of Islam Makhachev. Earlier, the Eagle had said that the current UFC lightweight champion should only make 5 to 6 title defenses and then retire. So Brendan Schaub's response to this was, Khabib backed out, right? So if a guy did come who can wrestle and negate Makhachev's and Khabib's wrestling, you just retire? That's stupid. That's not what champions do. It's like, he should do as many title defenses as he can before Father Time catches up to him. You don't want to say the game catches up to him. So hold up, if somebody comes along who poses a threat, he just retires? That's some weak shit. Now, if you do recall, Khabib recently stated in an interview that Makhachev must defend the UFC title at least 6 times. Now, 6 title defenses are about 6 fights and 3 years, so he should then retire from the sport because no one can be at the top forever. But if Islam only spends 2 or 3 years as a champion, he may not simply wait around for equal opponents, which is what Schaub was talking about when he criticizes Nurmagomedov's plan. At the same time, the American hints that Makhachev may leave earlier if too dangerous of an opponent appears on the horizon. And Makhachev is now 31 years old. He is in the prime of his life, but after a few years, the decline is almost inevitable. It's only in the heavy and light heavyweight divisions that you can safely fight at that highest level up to 40 years of age, and smaller guys, well, they tend to age much earlier. But I think Nurmagomedov just doesn't want to see his friend lose due to age. It's not really regarding that famous caution that Khabib has been accused of for many years. He simply looks further into the future than most couch experts or his former colleagues. He has just a lot of experience regarding this, but what do you think? Could Khabib be blamed for this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below.
You know, the reality is this, though. You have to understand that the Russians, the guys that I have trained with all this time, there's humble, right? There's them living behind their faith. They do. Nothing, you could never question that. Nobody can ever question that. But there is that edge, Chris. And if you don't believe that there's that edge that lies underneath, it's a bit naive. And I don't view you as a naive guy. But the reality is this. What in his skill set tells you that he can't go on one of those long runs like Usman, Anderson Silva, and all them dudes, right? So to me, it feels like Islam can hold on to the championship for a very long time. But if you listen to his mentor, his friend, and his teammate and coach now, he says there's a time limit. I don't know if I agree.
Oh, yeah, man. Makhachev smooshes people. He gets a hold of them, and they're not going anywhere.
They say he's so strong. And Javier Mendez has said this publicly, so I'm not saying anything that Javier believes Makhachev is better than Khabib. All around as a fighter. He's always said that. Like, you can go back and find it. Like, he feels Islam is that guy. I'll do him a nap. RIP to him. Felt like he was that guy. Like, these guys are super religious, man. They feel like everything is in a plan. If they lose, they lose. They're not going to sit there and give you a pity party just because they lost. Like, if they believe if Allah wanted that to happen, that was going to happen. But I truly just don't see Islam losing, man. It's just something about that guy. I don't know. He is special.
And as for Islam's next opponent, Alexander Volkanovski, well, he's pretty serious about defeating Makhachev. In a recent new interview with Michael Bisping, he said a lot of interesting things. For example, Volkanovski stated that he invited a basic Sambo wrestler to his training camp to prepare for the fight with Islam. We invited a Sambist. He was disrespectful while interacting, so we wanted to teach him a lesson. I quickly made it clear to him that we did not need anything. I don't usually act like this in training, but I had to prove something, Volkanovski said on Bisping's podcast. And that is all for today, everyone. If you liked the video, I want to ask you to help support our channel with likes and subscriptions. We have very little left to reach 40,000 subscribers, so thank you very much in advance.